Knowledge, we are supposed to walk by revelation knowledge. And pale ambapo sense knowledge inafanyanga is when we get ourselves involved in using what we call 5 senses. The 5 senses about tulipewa ni za kurelate na this dunia. We relate with them in life. We relate in them when we are hungry, when we feel to talk, when we feel concerned. Those are the senses that we use. They are in the soul, and they help the body to connect with the earth and with the affairs of the world. But we came to say that they are not supposed to rule over our lives. They are not supposed to reign over our lives, because they are supposed to be our servants. Ili ukiweka kidole kwa moto, unajua ni moto, unatoa kidole haraka. Ukienda kukula something about ni poisonous, you smell the poison, unaachana nayo. Inatusaidia ya kwamba when you see something evil, you run away from it. When you hear something that is not right, you move away from it. So the 5 senses help us to relate with the earth, with the people, with this environment, with the situations and circumstances ambazo ni natural. But it is not rule over ourselves, because we are spirits living in the body. And therefore we said in the morning that when sense knowledge dominates our lives, we will not have accurate relationship with God. We will not have accurate relationship with the men and with the environment about God has given to us. And that is why we were discussing and we were saying that when Abraham was 100 years old and God came to confirm that he would get a child, and Sarah was 90, Sarah used sense knowledge na akacheka, but Abraham never loved. Actually, when you read from Romans chapter 4, verse 18, nasema ya kwamba Abraham did not waver in faith. What was the thing that would make Abraham waver in faith? He was to waver in faith because age was with him, 100 years. True? The body was old. It was true and it was real according to the sense knowledge. It is true, I'm 100. But God has said at 100, I will get a child. So, who Abraham therefore against hope? Why against hope? There was hopelessness in him. Those are the senses. Anaangalia gozi, anaangalia saizi, anasikiza mifupa, anasikia mwili, he would feel, I'm old, I'm aged. Sarah would feel the same. And therefore, using senses, they would have ruled out the promise of God to give them a son. They would have ruled and said, senses would have said, even if God have said so, look at the age. Look at the prevailing conditions. So if they would have used senses, they would have missed their God-given miracle. And anytime you exercise senses and you walk by senses, how you feel, how you see, how you hear, when you walk by that, you deny God an opportunity to bless you, an opportunity to promote you, and an opportunity to increase you, an opportunity to promote you, to expand you, and also to make you what he wants you to become. Why? When sense knowledge is more louder than the revelation knowledge. So Abraham, therefore, did not use the sense knowledge. He used revelation knowledge to believe against hope. I told you the other time, I prayed for someone here. Then after ibada ananiambia, Pastor, hata kama umeomba, huyo mtu, what was the difference? We've prayed. Na ametokea bere, and then we have prayed and we have believed God. Then outside after ibada, anasema, Pastor, hata kama umeomba. What knowledge is he using? He is using not now the revelation knowledge, but the sense knowledge. Maana he is still feeling how situation are. Bado mawazo yake imeshikwa na vile situation iko. And therefore, hata kama you have trusted God, and nullify all the prayers because of sense knowledge. And we said in the morning that the same case came to the Israelites, and when they went to cry to God, God asked them in the book of Exodus, why are you crying to me? When you go before God with the sense knowledge and sensual excitement, unafikiri ati machozi ndio itabadilisha Mungu, unalia, ukimaliza mkono anasema, why are you crying to me? Why? You are going to God by senses, not by revelational knowledge, not by truth of what he does. It is good to note that God will always fulfill his words, not our emotions. So if you have emotions minus the truth of God, those are just emotions which God will ask, why are you crying? Do you know why people cry in the Facebook? Na social media. Social media. You see cries. Oh, please remember me. You think he is asking for remembrance? That person is crying. People have stopped now exercising the truth. They are seeking social pampering and social sympathy because of senses. So unaona mtu anaasi, for example, you have seen things hata unacheka kwa Facebook, yeah? Mtu anaasi, he doesn't obey the principles truth, and then anasema the grace of God is sufficient. Ili apate likes na apate comments. Yes, true. Hate it on the nail. Inaita kwa nini? Hate the nail. You have knocked it. You have done it. Say it again. Ongeza volume mpaka unawekewa ile kanini ya speaker. Let me tell you, they are called sensual excitement. They will not amount to anything. They will not amount to anything. And those are just sensual people. So God is asking Abraham, not Abraham, God is asking God is asking the Israelites, and he's the one who has delivered them. But he's asking them, why are you? Why are you crying? Why? Do you think God did not know why they were crying? He knew, because he knew these people have faced the Red Sea. I have provoked the Pharaoh and the Egyptians to come against them. So they are between the Red Sea, which I created, and Pharaoh, who have commanded to follow them. And therefore they are crying. They are using sensual knowledge. They are using senses to cry out against me and against Moses. Therefore the Lord is asking them, why are you crying to me? Can you read that verse? And the Lord said to Moses, why do you cry to me? But was Moses crying? No, Moses was not crying. Because Moses actually spoke to the Israelites and told them, The Egyptians that you see now, you will not see them again. That's the Moses. He did not use senses. When they are crying, he told them, hold your peace. Take that in scripture. Hold your peace. Because the Egyptians that you see now, this is verse, what? 15. Now, if you go back. So Moses had not gone to pray to God. He had not gone to pray to God. He spoke to them first. Then he went to pray. Look, where is it? And Moses, this is verse 13. So you see, Moses spoke before going to God. So Moses never exercised sensual knowledge. Moses walked by truth and by revelation of truth to overcome the pressure of people who are using sensual knowledge. One of the challenges that we have as pastors, one of the challenges we have as pastors is dealing with sensual people. The way Moses is dealing with them. They are crying against Moses, telling him, why are you bringing us here? Is there that there is no grace in Egypt that you bring us here to perish? And they are crying against him. But Moses speaks and said to the people, do not be afraid, because fear is out of senses. Bible says that truth has no fear. Is it true? Bible also says in the book of Timothy, God has not given us the spirit of fear, but he has given us the spirit of sound mind, sobriety and sound mind. So fear is a sign of senses. Because when issues come and you start reasoning with senses, then senses will tell you it is not possible. You are dying tomorrow. And to an extent ya kwamba mpaka unaanza kuandika eulogy. Ushaipitia mambo mpaka unaanza kuandika eulogy na unatafuta ile picture ambayo inaweza wekwa kwa eulogy yako. Umepitia mambo mpaka unaanza kusema niende ama nitafuta ingine nijipige kabla niende. Na unaanza mpaka karibu uandike historia yako watu wasikuwe na shida. Nilizaliwa mwaka huu mwezi huu. Shule nilienda hii na hii na hii. These were my friends. Mpaka kwa eulogy unajipeleka mpaka kwa mazishi yako unaona mostly mwenye anaweza hubiri ni nani? Najua fulani kwanza atalia sana kwa saduku. Why? Senses. They take you up to the grave. They don't take you beyond the grave. The much and the most stressful thing your senses can take you to is up to the grave, not after the death. After the grave. But when you walk under revelational knowledge, it takes you beyond the grave and tells you God is on the throne. So even death is not a loss. You don't fear death. When you are walking under revelation knowledge, you walk under truth. You engage the truth. You see life beyond prosperity. You see life beyond marriage. You see life beyond business and all the other things. Your life is beyond material accumulation. It's beyond what you can become in life. Because you're not using senses to judge matters. You are using life. So, this is the point I'm bringing to us. That Abraham overcame the sensual reality. And I ask ourselves in the morning, what would be better for you? To fight a battle at this level where you are face to the enemy, or raising in standard and fighting from top? Which is the best for you? Let me give you the wisdom of an eagle. When an eagle is hunting a snake, and it locates a snake on the ground, as an eagle knows so well, if I try to kill a snake when it is on the ground, this battle, I will not win. I will die. So what does the eagle do? The eagle comes, flies from top, comes and picks the snake, and shoots up, goes to the highest level of atmosphere where there is less oxygen. So the snake will struggle as the eagle is flying with it, but when it gets up where there is not enough oxygen, what happens? The snake suffocates. and the ego does not fight. And once it's suffocated, that's ready meat. But the ego knows when we will fight with this enemy, which is a snake, down there, I'll be defeated. It may bite me, I will die. So what do? To avoid the biting of the snake, I pick it to the environment where it will naturally be defeated, naturally sterilized. Therefore, when we are talking about transformation of our mind, that we may be able to walk under liberational knowledge, is shifting our battles from the level where the devil is active and aggressive to a level where he cannot cope up with us. So it's for my choice, whether I go to fight with a snake on the ground or pick it and go and be with it where I'm doing well, but it cannot do. So when you use sensual knowledge, know you are fighting with your enemy at the ground where the enemy is strong. But when you rise up in liberational or truth knowledge, that enemy cannot defeat you. That enemy, it may try to react, but you shall naturally neutralize it. You shall naturally bring it down. Every thought, we must take it to a higher thought. Every attack, we must ascend to the higher attack. We should not look things at the face value. Abraham refused. If you go to Ephesians chapter, not to Ephesians, but Romans chapter 4. Abraham refused to look at his age. He refused to look at his ears. He refused to look at the Sarah's womb. But against hope, he engaged the matter with liberational knowledge. He dominated over it by liberation, by truth. By truth, brethren. And let me say that when we engage it at that level, some 4 cries will die out of our mind, live around our mouth. Some things will die out of our minds because we are fighting from a very high level and from a different eye perspective. We are not looking at things from the sensual part of it. What people are saying, what situations are saying, we are looking at them at the preset mind of God. So he became a father of many nations. According to that which was spoken, so shall thy seed be. So Abraham rose from just being 100 years and Sarah from 90, and he rose to the truth that I am a father, not of a son called Isaac. I am a father of not a nation, nations, rising above. People may think you are a fool. People may think that you are out of your mind, but you are applying liberational knowledge. You are applying not sensual knowledge. You are not dominated by senses. What people are saying, let me tell you, it is time you avoid and be careful of people who will always tell you other people's are saying. Can I come to you? When you hear somebody tells you, watu anasema, please, that is, abia jani yako, what is that? Mwabia sensual knowledge. That's a carnal person. Because a carnal person will use senses. A born again, but using senses. Ushaiambiwa, hey, hata watu nilisikia wakisema, hakuna watu walika yako hawajaoleka. We, sense knowledge. Sense knowledge. Senses inakwambia, hey, takrasimeti yangu, akona wagapi? 2. Na mimi bado, sio kutamak, bado niko na shughuli huku. Senses. Senses will make you take actions that you will regret. Because senses will always show you how you are weak, how you have not attained, and how you have not become. But faith will tell you this is who you are in God. This is what God is planning. So you must not suppress the knowledge, but you shall reign over it. Uitaware. You rule over it. You rule over it. So, this knowledge, therefore, does not come from men. Actually, Paul says that the the message we speak does not come from the wisdom of men. It comes from God. It is from God. And therefore you will be different. Not because of many things. You will be different because you know your Maker is so aware of you. He understands your ways. He understands what you are going through. Your life actually to him is a past tense. Do you know your life is a past tense to God? Already God knows your life before it began. He knows you before uzaliwe. Na alijua utazaliwa na huyo mama na baba. And then akajua ya kwamba ukizaliwa, this is what you shall go through. But my agenda for you is this one. If you remain obedient. If you follow me, this is who you are. God knows your end even before you started. And therefore you cannot be wiser than God. You cannot become an advocate of your life to God. God knows it. And therefore giving yourself over to his truth and to his wisdom, you are giving yourself back your life. Yani unajirudishia maisha yako. Because your life is in God's hand. So, when we rule by truth, and when we are able to reign over emotion by our truth, do you know we live the life of God? We live the kind of the life of God. But, I said, and I want us to check on that in the book of 2 Kings chapter 6. 2 Kings chapter 6. Because it is possible, maana ninapoongea hivi, usifikiria kwamba I'm fetching from far. It is possible to be in a church where truth is taught. It is possible to walk and live with a man of God in the same house. Yet, you are sensual. Or you're using sense knowledge instead of truth. And therefore, you are suffering while the one who is mentoring you is not suffering. So, 2 Kings chapter 6 and verse 8. Let's read through. So, tunaenda hivi. I will then explain later. It's concerning Elisha and his servant when the Assyrians came to attack them. So, verse 8. Let's go. Then the king of Assyria warred against Israel and took counsel with his servants. Read together with me. Kama usomi. Kama una Bible. He took counsel with his servants, saying, in such and such a place shall be my camp. So that's the plan of the king of Assyria. And the man of God sent unto the king of Israel, saying, beware that thou pass not such a place, for thither the Syrians will come down. Next. And the king of Israel sent to the place which the man of God told him, and warned him off, and saved himself there, not once, nor twice. So he was advised, and he took the advice. Therefore, the heart of the king of Assyria was so troubled for this thing. And he called his servants and said unto them, will you not show me which of us is for the king of Israel? And one of his servants said, none, my lord, O king. But Elisha the prophet that is in Israel tells the king of Israel the words that thou hast spoken, even in thy bedchamber. And he said, go and say and spy where he is, that I may send and fetch him out. And it was told him, he is staying, behold, in Dothan. Therefore, he sent thither horses and chariots and a great host, and they came by night and compassed the whole city about. Next. And when the servant of the man of God did what? Was risen up early and gone forth, behold, a host encompassed the city both with the horses and chariots. How did the servant react? And his servant said unto him, alas, my master, how shall we escape, or what shall we do? And Elisha answered and said, fear not, for they that be with us are more than they that be with them. Next. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray thee, open the eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountain was full of horses, and of the chariots of fire round about Elisha. Round about who? Not the servant. The army and the host were around about who? Elisha. And when they came down to him, Elisha prayed unto the Lord and said, smite these people, I pray you, with brightness. And the Lord smote them with brightness according to the word of Elisha. Let's get there. You can go and finish up to verse 23. So what does the Bible say? Now, this is a prayer. If you go back, this is a prayer that Elisha prayed. Lord, I pray that you may open up his eyes. Open up his eyes that he may see. I have a question. Read here. Open his eyes that he may see. And the Lord opened his eyes, the eyes of the young man, and he saw. Then what did he saw? A mountain was full of horses and chariots and of fire loud about Elisha. This is a question. Was the servant bright? Physically. Because when he had waken up, he had seen the army of the Syrians. So the man physically was seeing. But spiritually, the man was bright. It is possible to be with the servant of the Lord, because if you go behind, that should be verse 16. Elisha answered the servant when the servant came and told him, alas, master, what will we do? Because we are surrounded. We are surrounded. The armies literally of chariots and horses, they are here. They are come to capture us. What shall we do? Elisha answered, fear. Why? From the natural sight and from the natural experience, the servant was fearful. He was afraid. But he was afraid in the presence of the servant of the Lord, who was mentoring him up to become great in the house of Israel and to serve God. So this man interpreted things. The young man, who is the servant of Elisha, he interpreted things from the senses. And I know all of us, we are victims. Unaona kitu, machozi. Kwanza ukiona kitu uanze kulia, jua senses zimeanza kazi. Straight. Uone kitu gumu, uone machozi senses. Uone kitu usikie umeshikwa na uoga, already senses have taken over. Ukiona kitu usikie kutetemeka na kuwasiwasi, already senses have taken over. Already. They are in place and they are working. Because senses react to the physical appearances of things. They react to what you think, what people say, what you feel, and what you have heard. Senses will react. And if you are not careful, you will become this servant who is getting afraid and troubled in the presence of a man who can see beyond the armies of the Syrians. So this one tells us, therefore, Elisha saw the armies coming, the army of Syrians coming. But when they were coming, Elisha knew those who are with him. His spiritual sight was so alert and quick that he was able to know who are surrounding him. And that is why he's telling the servant, do not fear, because many are they that are with us than they be with them. But physically, could the servant see anybody around them? Could he see anybody around Elisha? Could he feel him? No, he could not even, he could, not once, nishaiambia mtu hivyo anambia, haya, pastor, hata kama unasema, ni vizuri kutumia akili. Sio mara moja nimeambiwa hapa, pastor, hapana, tumia reality. Elisha did not use the physical sensual reality. He used the spiritual reality that overcame the situation. So, he is telling the servant, if you want to overcome fear, your eyes need to be opened. You must change your dimension of operation from sensual knowledge dominance to spiritual knowledge dominance. Spiritual knowledge dominance. What is God saying? What has he done? What is God's expectation in this? What is God's intention on this? So he prayed, Lord, open his eyes. And let me tell you, if you go now to verse 15, I want to give you signs that tells you that somebody is in sensual knowledge. Look at the Bible. And when the servant of the man of God was risen early, one thing, this guy was very aggressive. He always rose up early than the master, than the man of God. So, seeing you are very active does not mean you cannot operate in sense knowledge. So he used to wake up early. But when he had gone out of the door, behold, there were compassed around the city, both with the horses and chariots. You see, the thing is, when this guy was come out of the door, what did he see? He saw how they were surrounded. And he was a good man. Because when he saw the natural happening, he came to report to Elisha. He came to report to the Elisha what he was seeing. And what did he tell Elisha? Arise, my servant, he said to him. Then, when afadhali agefika hapo, agesema, arise, my servant, we are surrounded. But he did not say we are surrounded. He said, what? A book amplified or something, NIV. Look at that. He is not addressing the enemy. He is addressing the action. And he is saying, what shall we do? Anytime you get yourself asking this question, what shall I do? Anytime you get yourself in this question, stuck on this question, oh no, my master, what are we going to do? Anytime you get yourself with that question, senses are in operation. Do we rise up and run away? Do we rise up and do this or the other? Do we do away with God? Do we fail to fulfill the principles of what God has said and use other njia zingine za mikato? Whenever you find yourself stuck by this word, what shall I do? Before you do what you want to do, please first lay over the senses. Lay over them. Don't allow your senses determine the next course of action. That's why Paul says, when you get angry, be angry but do not sin. Be angry, but reign over that anger. Do not use anger to sin. Reign over emotions. Reign over senses. Reign over them. Times you feel hated. How do you react? Before you react, reign over hatred. No, even when men have hated me, I have God who loved me. Even when that's what Joseph said, let's kill him and see what would come of his dream. Senses, thinking that killing him, the dream will die. Not knowing that that dream was meant to save them when famine will come. Let me tell you, at times we hate those who carry the solution during our famine. When you use senses, because senses will bring envy, senses will bring strife, senses will bring pain, senses will bring hatred and betrayal. Not knowing I'm hating and I'm betraying the one who carries the solution during my time of famine. Joseph carried the solution when famine was coming. But his brothers, they used senses to say we kill him. They used senses to sell him out, that he may not become what God intended him to become. Senses. This is what senses do. When he saw the surrounding, the senses brightened his sight. He could not see what God is able to do. That's why he's asking, what do we do? Not God. Is he referring to God? He's saying, what are we going to do? Not God. Senses takes God out of the equation. Senses disregards God's ability. You become bride of what God has said. You become bride of God's purposes and plans for your life. You become bride of the things that God has in store for you. You become bride of the faithfulness of God for your life. You become bride of God's purposes for your life when you walk and live by senses. That's why people are taken to witches. People are taken to wrong occultism. That's how people are introduced to other occultic movements. Why? They cannot trust God. I asked someone one question, and he said, it's because, Pastor, there is nothing I could do. Nakumbuka yule mzee alikuwa anaitwa wa Tanzania, alikuwa anaitwa Babu. Alikuwa anaitwa Babu nani? Ongeeni kwa nguvu nisikie. Huyu mzee mwenye alikuwa anapea watu uji na vikombe, ni uji ama ni supu? And he became very rich. Kulikuwa mpaka na Kayole. Watu walikuwa wanaenda in thousands from all over. Alikuwa na anasema kikombe moja inaponya sijui magonjwa gani. And people used to go there. And I asked a believer close to me, why did you go? Pastor, we had no option. Why? Senses. 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 They brighten us from what God is able to do. They brighten us from God's provision, from God's protection. That's why this servant of Elisha could not believe that God would preserve us. God will protect us. That's why he's asking, what do I do? Not what God ought you to do in this. Father, what will you do for me on this? Would you come through for me? God is no longer there. You are brightened from God, and then you face people. You look a solution from men. You look for a solution from other areas except God. The reality vanishes. The reality of God vanishes. Naongea hivi na wengine najua kuna mahali umeona hapa Mungu Mungu hata kama ni kujaribiwa. Do you know Job had an opportunity kuambia Mungu hapana. Agetii. Unajua if Job was sensual, agetii ushauri wa bibi yake. When bibi yake alimwambia, man, jipu, the boils are all over. Your children, 10 of them are gone. Your wealth is gone. Your friends have come against you. Job do what? Curse God? And if he was sensual, angemwambia sawa sawa. Hata angetafuta misamiati na vocabulary nzito, agushie Mungu haraka haraka ili aende. But Job was never sensual. Job was truthful. Actually, God would testify, my servant, righteous, true, and faithful. Sensual people. So, when we walk by senses, we become bright. You become bright. And let me say also, not that we have said that senses will not speak. Yes, right now I'm speaking. I know how senses are speaking to you. I know what may be going on in your mind. I know the things that you may be facing. I know the many questions that may be on you. But those are senses. What is the reality of God? Don't allow your senses to brighten the reality of who God is to you. Because senses will reduce your relationship kwa Mungu ikuwe you are relating with God by what he can do, but not who he is. Senses reduces our interaction in God in terms of what he can do, what he has done, but not who he is. That's why people have given up in ministry and in life because they have seen like God has not done it. Do you know Mary and Martha? They used senses, though they were so close to Jesus. They used senses. The man, our brother, is thinking. He now, but during the day of resurrection, senses. And ukweli walikuwa na walikuwa wanajua mpaka kuna day of resurrection. That's why wanaadio hiyo tunajua siku ya kiama, not now. Why? Senses. But Jesus is speaking of now. He is addressing him coming out of the grave now. But senses denied them the truth and the reality of the intents of God. Number 2, senses not only brighten you, but senses build a deaf ear. They broke your ear. You can't hear God. Una kama sasa hivi nimejikaza kuongea. Nasema wewe pastor unaongea. I wish you know what I'm going through. I wish you understand the pain. I wish you understand. Vile nisijarara. Kumekucha nikiwa hivyo. Hata kesho I regret ni Monday. Monday ukae bali kidogo. Why will you come Monday? Please Monday kaa bali. Afadhali mchana wa Saturday urefuke na usiku wa Saturday urefuke. Man, I fear Monday. I fear. But that one will not defy Monday from coming. Some of us are saying, oh God, help this year. Ikae. You see? Ama wengine wanaomba hii mwaka ifanye nini? Iharakishe hii. You think mwaka kubadilika kuna kitu imebadilika? No, ni kalenda imebadilika. But this is a point I'm bringing to us. Senses will rock your ears out. You will not even hear when God speaks. You will not. Even when God counsels you and tells you, this is a wrong pattern of life you are taking. This is a wrong direction you're taking. Don't go this way. Because of senses, you will walk that way. How many people? I have a testimony. A bad testimony. Not one, not twice. Somebody advised not to go, but goes. That's the other day. Somebody left the grace and went engaged on other things. Na shetani alikuwa anamgoja hivi na red card. Unasikia kugojewa na red card? Guy alikuwa amegojewa na red card. Hata hakukanyaga hatua mbili. Aligojewa hivi na red card. Aligongwa inaitwa hepatitis B na AIDS. From poor to hepatitis and AIDS. Anaongea sasa, God hates me this much. Hata alisema hakuna dawa atakunywa kufe haraka. Aende kutana naye. Why? His ears were blocked out by senses. Don't allow senses lock you from the voice of God. If you are reading where we are reading from the book of Proverbs, it's saying, hearken to me, and I will show you the way of life. I will give you length of days. Wealth and riches are on my left hand. Long life is in my right hand. In the one. So the devil will rock you from the truth. You miss long life, and you miss wealth and riches which are in the truth. Wisdom is speaking and is saying, if you hearken me, I will give you inheritance, and I will fill your treasuries with the treasures. So, senses will rock you from what God is saying. You become poor, you lack heritage, you give up in life, you lose the way. What will you do? What will I do if my ears are rocked? You see, senses almost took away the miracle of Naaman. When he went to Elisha, and Elisha told his servant Gehazi, go and tell him to go and dip in Jordan River 7 times. Just hearing that, the man said, no, I cannot go to Jordan. There are good rivers, Farpa, and the others that are there in our place. They are pure, they are fresh, they are good. I better go and dip myself there, but I will not go to Jordan. Why? I also thought, look at the senses. Anytime you go to God, leave your thoughts in your house. Leave your thoughts somewhere when you're going to God. He said, I thought that this servant would come out and do what? And wave over me. He would come and wave over me. And then I will be cleansed. So if my ear is locked, I will not hear what God is saying. So he said what? I thought. And what happened? Next, Naaman became angry. Why was he angry? It's good to ask ourselves tough questions on that. He is told, go and dip yourself in the river 7 times. Your body will be restored. The guy, instead of rejoicing, because now leprosy will be gone out of his life, the guy becomes angry because of being spoken to the truth, but he exercised senses, which has blocked his ear from what God is saying. How many people have been angry because they have been told the truth? The truth meant to change their lives, to transform them, to increase them, to multiply them, and to bring a solution. But they became angry. The Bible says that he became angry and protested and started going back home. Alikuwa anapelekea nani ukoma? Do you think Elisha angekufa na hiyo ukoma? Angeenda naye anakufe. Why? Senses can steal your miracle light on your face. Senses. Why tell me, commander? Why tell me, an army commander, to go to a river, to dip myself 7 times, not once, 7, and it's a dirty river? Huyu amenikosea heshima. Let me tell you, Mungu ana heshima. Hizo ni zako. Madaraka na pesa na mali ni zako. But to God, that's nonsense. God has not, his Bible says that he's not a respecter of persons. He speaks the truth. But the guy became angry. If he would not have gone to Jordan, Naaman would have perished in his leprosy. Elisha would have continued being a prophet. Senses can steal your miracle right on your eyes. When you reason, when you think, when you attend issues with your senses. Naaman almost ilibidi marafiki zake na wale kuwa na wewe wamukalisha chini wamwambia, if you would been told to do a hard thing than this, would you not have done that? They walimbebereza. Lakini nani alikuwa mgonjwa? Try to imagine mgonjwa anabeberezwa apate solution na wale ambao si wagonjwa. Why? Because the guy was using senses. Others caught what Elisha said. So Elisha was concerned of his servant and he prayed for him, because it is possible to be in a house of truth, but when you use the senses, your ears will be locked. Let me say, I've said, and I've repeatedly said, and I will also repeat saying, when truth is spoken, when you read from the book of Proverbs, when truth is spoken, it gives us heritage. It gives us increase. It gives us safety. It increases our chances of life. It increases our potential to grow and become. But when our ears are locked, we will exercise that which the Bible prohibits. I have many things in me to say. So many things to say. Because we have witnessed speaking the truth but people doing the negative. Thinking, nitafanya niumize pastor. You think I'm the one who ataumia? Proverbs inasema, if you deny me, you love death. That's what the Bible was saying in the morning. That them that love me, love life. But they that hate me, they love the way of death. It's not me. If Naaman would have gone, it will not have affected who? Elisha. He himself is the one who was to be affected because he's the one who has become death. I pray that God will help us, that we will be able to reign over senses, that we will hear what God is saying. However painful or shameful it may be, we do it for our lives. We obey it for our lives. So, our thoughts will be provoked when we use senses. Because senses will interpret our thoughts. So our revelation knowledge, therefore, is intended to make our lives. The revelation knowledge, the truth of the word of God that comes to us, it meant to consume us in God. You become, therefore, consumed on matters of God. Consumed on what God is saying. Consumed on the voice of God. Consumed on what God is releasing for your benefit and for my benefit. Not what people are saying, but what God is saying. Not what people are behaving, but how God is behaving towards you. Not what you can see with your eyes, but what you can see with your eye. What you can perceive in the spirit. What you can understand God speaking to you. But today you realize that most of the things that are bothering us are out of senses. Out of senses. Not the reality of what God has done. That's why Paul was so consumed in God and he said, I know and I am persuaded. I know and I am persuaded of God. And I am persuaded that the good work that he has started in me, he will bring it to pass. He is so persuaded. But this guy who is this persuaded is one person who had suffered a lot because of trusting in God. He had suffered so many things because of believing in God. He was beaten. He was going hungry. At times he was going naked. He had rack. He had so many painful encounters. But Paul says, I'm persuaded. And he would say, none of these things move me. I'm persuaded. I'm persuaded. Why? Revelation knowledge brings persuasions, not emotions. Can I say again? When you operate under revelation knowledge, you live under persuasion, not emotions. So when you are sharing and you are connecting with anybody else in life, when you are reasoning to a certain person, please discern. I finish by this. Discern. What is this person operating in? Which sphere is this person operating in? Sense knowledge or revelation knowledge. Discern. Before useme dio, ama pastor alisema, ama fulani aliniambia, before useme ati alikwambia na uliamini, discern the realm of operation. Discern. It's not easy. Because mostly the person who will trap you will be your close friend. So you will easily trust that person. Na saa hizo anatumia senses. Unajua ushaiongea na mtu anakuambia huyo hawezi nidanganya. Nikamwambia ndio hawezi kukudanganya. Lakini atapita alitumiwa na shetani kukemea Yesu. Na walikuwa pamoja. Alitoka kwa ufunuo akaingia kutumiwa na shetani. So before you swallow what somebody tells you, discern. Discern. Is he in sense knowledge or in truth revelation knowledge? What is dominating that person? What is really provoking and driving that person? Senses or truth? And you become calm. Yani utatulia. You live a calm life when you are able to differentiate senses and truth. Senses and truth. That's the safe zone to engage. The most safe part to engage in. Discerning. Huyu mtu ameongea haya yote ya. But where is he operating from? Where is she speaking from? Where is he coming from? That's why Reban, hata kama alikuwa anafinyiria Jacob, he operated from revelation knowledge. And he told Jacob, I know by experience that I am blessed because of you coming into my family and engaging in the affairs of my family. And therefore, please don't go. He operated from that truth. But a Pharaoh came. Bible says that this Pharaoh who came, he knew nothing about Joseph. There are people who operate from a place of ignorance. They don't know. They do not know the importance of that person in your life. They do not know the importance of that church and that fellowship in your life. So discern. I repeat again, discern. Because true knowledge will make you be consumed with God, not activities, not things, not situations, but with God. As long as you are getting to know God closer, deeper, and with better understanding, please, that's a place to engage in. That's a place to remain. Are we together, brethren? So please, run to reign over emotions. Emotions make people steal. Emotions make people fight. Emotions makes people betray one another. Emotions brings hatred among the beloved. Emotions comes to destroy that which God is building. Emotions, which comes from senses. But when you use truth, you are so settled because at the center of it, you are concerned about God's portion in it, about God's portion in it. Are we together? So let's pray. And as we pray and as we engage even the prayers over this week, one of the things I would like us to pray even for the church, that is the body of Christ, and also at this local church, is that God will give us discernment, personal discernment, to know when something is essential and when something is truthful. When